It's Gordon Young from Gordon Scotland again, and I'm here in the fantastic setting of the Signet Library, and I'm here with Kim Puhrmann from Novel Adventures, and we're actually sitting in a room that's called the Commissioner's Room. Now this, of course, this actual room was used to film in Outlander. Yeah, I might have it wrong, but I think it's Series 3 Outlander 12, The Governor's Ball, and this, of course, was the room where Jamie came to see Lord John Grey. So it's a fantastic setting for this interview.
What joy to see you.
Is that you come to be governor of Jamaica?
By malediction, I believe. This clammy isle is the terminus of a number of posts and so-called promotions.
So this is another one of my videos in the series where I'm talking to people who feel that Outlander has in some way changed their lives, sometimes small, sometimes in a big way. And that has totally intrigued me ever since I first started meeting Outlander fans, because I became aware that this series of books and this television series had in some way changed people's lives. And so this is why I'm doing these videos and allowing people to tell us how it's done that. Anyway, so Kim, welcome to Edinburgh, welcome to Scotland.
Thanks, Gordon. Happy to be here.
Yeah, and it's lovely to see you again.
Thanks.
First we're just going to chat to Kim about some background things, and then I think she's then going to tell us a few things about how she feels Outlander's changed her lives. So Kim, tell me, perhaps to start off, first and foremost, when and how did you become an Outlander fan?
Well, I actually became a fan back in 2011. I started a book club in my neighborhood with the ladies, and as my friend and co-owner of Novel Adventures calls it, code for wine club. But yeah, we started reading books, and Andrea introduced us to Outlander. She said, I have the best book for you, and she put it out there, and that's where it all started back in 2011. And about the third meeting, Andrea said, I'm going to Scotland. And I said, when? And she said, I don't know, you plan it. So a week later, I planned it. And a year later, here we were in 2012, just the two of us, long before the show. We were here, left husbands, kids behind, visited all the novel locations we could find. We scoured the book. We found all those that were real and those that were fictional, and that's where we started. Good. Back in 2012.
So that's 2012, yes, so that's 7 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's quite amazing. And had you been to Scotland at all before then?
No. Actually, surprisingly, it wasn't on my bucket list. No. Even though my maiden name is Stewart. It really, that was kind of the thing. Yeah. Yeah. So as I'm reading the book, I'm seeing my name all through the book. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is more personal than I thought. So. Yeah.
Well, that's certainly something that, it's created that for you. At least you hadn't planned to come to Scotland, and then you did. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's really interesting. So 7 years now, a fan. That's great. But I'm aware, obviously, that you have this business, Novel Adventures, which takes people on these fantastic tours. So what inspired you then to start Novel Adventures, Kim?
Well, it's a kind of a long story, but I'll try and make it short.
No. Give us it all.
Well, it started with that first book. Andrea and I came in 2012 looking for novel locations. We'd actually communicated with Diana via Facebook and email on a few different locations that we wanted to find that weren't real. And so she helped us kind of narrow it down. And at one point, actually almost met us for tea because her son was getting married that same summer.
Right.
We were here at the same time, but he ran into a kilt issue, and so they didn't make it. But long story short, with that, we were here doing our thing, visiting all around Scotland. We went all the way up to Harrison Lewis, knew that the stones weren't real, but had to see a stone circle. So we did 1,200 miles in a wee car, and driving on the left side. It was stick shift. It was.
Are you driving?
I was driving. I did it all because Andrew doesn't drive a standard, so I had to do it all. It was a
that would be amazing.
It was a great experience. My first day driving, my dinner was a bottle of wine, all for myself.
I can understand that.
Yeah, but it was fun. In any case, so we went from that to 6 months later, Andrea sent me a text message and said, let's go find Fraser's Ridge. So we went to North Carolina. This trip she planned, we went off and we visited all the different locations. Again, book locations, because the show wasn't out. No idea of what was where. We spent all kinds of time hiking through the mountains, climbing waterfalls, visiting Cherokee Village, doing a lot of the things that we thought the Frasers would have done in North Carolina at Fraser's Ridge. Later that same year, I had already had a trip planned with a couple girlfriends to go see some Twilight locations in Washington. Right. So little by little, we were already visiting these different movie locations or book locations based on novels that we'd read. And at one point, one of the ladies that I worked with said, have you ever thought of doing a Gone with the Wind tour? And I said, no, but I will. So I did. And then out of that, we started talking, and Andrea and I were in the middle of a spa at one of the book locations that we thought fit the end of book one, where Jamie and Claire are down in that stone underground hot springs. And it was just a fabulous thing. We had some wine, and she's like, we should see if Diana would let us do every book. And I said, well, Diana's not going to do it, but maybe we should do a few of our own. Talked about trying to get on the Travel Channel, and that said, we just need to start doing all kinds of books. And Harry Potter came out, and the Twilight came out, and Lord of the Rings came out. And so we just started putting all these different books into tours. Outlander has become our number one. It's our favorite.
That's great.
It's where we started. It's where our roots are. So and it's our most popular at this point. So that's just kind of it. But we do pretty much any book.
And had you worked in the travel industry before? Were you a tour operator or anything before? No.
I actually worked 25 years in the medical field.
Ah, did you?
Yeah. But I've been told that it's probably my attention to detail in that gives me the basis for doing what I do here. I've traveled a lot in my life, and a lot of family and friends used to invite me to create vacations for them and help get all that going. And so I've always done that type of thing on a basis just for friends. So I knew pretty much how I would do it. All my trips are trips that I do the way I would do for my own family.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I look ahead and I think, oh, so we're going to need tickets to this, and we're going to need transportation to that, and we're going to need a guide here, and we're going to want food this night. Where are we going to eat? And that's how I do. I build it as if it's my own family. And ultimately, it really has become my family. It really has.
Yeah, it's interesting. People talk about the Outlander community, and it is interesting because I think I mentioned to you, I am missing meeting the many fans I used to meet, in my shop in the Royal Mile. And I do miss that. And so it is, obviously, there is an element of community family about the thing, which I'm not sure exists. There's lots of other books I like.
Right.
So, for instance, I like Agatha Christie books, but I don't feel like part of a community with that, So it just keeps coming back to this thing. I find it's quite strange that this has this impact on people.
Right.
Well, that does lead us nicely on, and you've already told us that Outlander, was the inspiration, I think, for you starting this wonderful business that you now own.
It was.
So I was going to ask you now how Outlander's changed your life, but you've maybe told me a bit of it already. But please just tell me in your own words how you felt that.
I kind of led up to it. The family, the community, the people. Honestly. I love these people, and we get together and we do a lot of things. We travel in a lot of different locations. Most of them come back and do other tours with me. I just got back literally a week ago from a tour that I did called Celtic Legends and Lore, where we started up in Shetland, came down to Aberdeen, across Scotland, down into Ireland, and went all through Ireland and finished down in Shannon.
Right.
And of the 12 people on that tour, 11 have traveled with me on more than one occasion.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I know, I love it. And there's something about it. We do feel like family.
Yeah.
And then I have an annual gathering on the Ridge, which is in North Carolina, and you've been there to the Mass Farm Inn.
Yes, we have. Indeed.
So I do that every year, and it
really is like a huge family reunion.
Yeah.
People come from, last year we had 21 different states. People come from all around the country to come, and again,
2/3 of those people that were there last year were return participants. So they just come back year after year. It's a huge family reunion, and we keep in touch outside of it. People that have met, that live in California, met somebody in New Jersey, and they travel and they come spend time with each other outside of the tour. They go and spend time at each other's homes, and they come to weddings. One of the ladies in my 2016 tour got married. She met a Scotsman.
There you go.
And she got married in January of just this year.
Well,
I traveled from Iowa. Others traveled from Alabama. Others from New Jersey. Others from Seattle. We all traveled to Kentucky for this wedding. And it was we'd all met in the 2016 tour.
And did she meet, if you don't mind me asking, did she meet the Scotsman in Scotland?
She did, on the Royal Mile. She met him at the Heart of Midlothian.
Was she on an Outlander tour?
She was not.
Right.
No, she wasn't. But the Outlander is what brought her to Scotland to begin with.
Yeah.
She fell in love with Scotland, knew she wanted to be here, knew she wanted to marry a Scotsman, and she found him. And that's pretty unique, I think. Now, that's somebody whose Outlander has changed her life.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's probably right up there. This changed her life completely, but for yourself, certainly then, Kim, that has been, I think in terms of business, what you're describing there, as you said, you're calling it a family, is quite unique, I think, in terms of business.
It is.
So that, you obviously, the people are obviously delighted with what you give them.
Yeah.
And as you said previously, your attention to detail, which I know people from previous experience, Kim's attention to detail is phenomenal. Obviously, you must have, back in those early days of 2011, 2012, been one of the amongst the very early ones, researching all this, because there wasn't really that many tours then at that time. There was some, I know, but not that many.
Right. There were a few, and in contacting each of them, they have fabulous tours. But there were certain elements that we wanted to do. Like I said, it's the detail. It's coming to these locations. I don't think there's ever been another group that's held a welcome dinner in a film location like this. And that's just the type of thing that I look for, is making my event special, making it stand out. There are some great tour guides out there who are more knowledgeable about Scotland and Outlander than I am. But there's just something about the little extras that we do along the way, and I think it matters. I think I know that my trips cost more than most. And so I want to make it worth their time. I want to make it worth their money, and I know that people put their dreams into my hands,
absolutely.
And I want to make sure that I live up to that.
I think it's that realisation of that, though, Kim, is part of this Outlander community in a way, because I used to say the same to my own staff. I used to say, look, for many people, this will be a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and it means so much to them, and we should help them as much as we can. And quite often they wanted to learn more about Scotland, which is understandable, so we would try our best to sort of help them with that as much as we can, even though it's probably sort of day-to-day stuff for us, if we can understand. But yeah, I do think that's quite amazing how you describe that. Because most businesses wouldn't describe their customers, and you told me before about the repeat business you got, and I was amazed, But I mean, we were very fortunate as well. Many Outlander fans, shopped with us on many different occasions, which was lovely. And I can say, actually, a true story about this Outlander experience, folks, was that when June and I were over in the Carolinas, and we were heading for Savannah, and Hurricane Matthew was coming sweeping in, and we were told not to go, but I said to June, we're going. Anyway, we got to the outskirts and they decided to evacuate the city, and we had nowhere to go. So we just drove. We just drive and get away from this hurricane, drive north, get up to North Carolina or whatever. And this lady here got us accommodation at Mast Farm, so we headed right up to the Blue Ridge Mountains and everything, wasn't it? And then the following night, some other Outlander fans had emailed me and texted me. So from going from no accommodation, nowhere to go, we had these wonderful experiences. So that was really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah, I like how you described it as family, and I liked how you described that whole community thing. So I would say that's pretty unique, and I think that does change your life from that point of view.
It really does.
Good. So, maybe just looking ahead then, Kim, any future plans for Novel Adventures, or any future plans for Outlander tours, or anything, to tell the fans?
Well, I am here right now for what I call the Epic Outlander Adventure. We're starting in Scotland, and we'll do a lot of the usual locations, but we're hitting a lot of the new ones from season 4,
Right.
And maybe even 1 or 2 from season 5, which are rumored to be in. Not confirmed because we haven't seen it yet, but we're going to hit a few different locations throughout Scotland, and then coming back toward Glasgow, we'll fly out and go to Prague.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, yes. So you're going to go and see those as well?
Yes, the season
That's-
2 locations.
Yes, indeed.
Which is Paris, and so that's what it's called, from Scotland to Paris.
Ah, yeah.
And so we'll visit those out there, and we're actually meeting up with the Czech group.
Ah,
Yeah, so they're meeting us one morning, and we're going to walk around the different tour locations with them. We'll have lunch and then an evening of dinner with them. So it's another thing where we get to reach out and touch people that from a whole other country that would never have known.
No.
So so that's that.
Tell them I'm asking for them, because I had a lot of communication with the Prague, the Czech fans, Outlander fans. So
Bozina.
they're a lovely group, absolutely lovely.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
tell them I
it's
said
pretty
hello.
exciting. Yeah, I will. I'll do that.
Anything else?
Well, our annual gathering, those are, the things that come up every year. So next year, because I've been inordinately busy, somewhat neglecting my family, I'm kind of stepping back and take a little bit of a break, where next year I just run just the gathering, and then a repeat of this one, but we'll expand on it, maybe add a few more days to it.
Right.
This one's just 10, probably up to about 14 or 15 next year, just because I think it needs more time. Yeah, so outside of that, those are my only 2 for next year. But then the following year, I pick up and I do a Lord of the Rings at the end of January on New Zealand.
Oh, good. Excellent.
And then we'll get back full swing into, at least one, more than likely 2 or more Outlander tours for 2021. But yeah, it's been crazy busy.
So imagine 7 years ago, if I'd met you then,
Right.
or 8 years ago, you maybe were still working in medical care or just come out of it,
Right.
right? And had no idea you would shortly be flying around the world,
Right.
meeting all these people, having this extended family.
Right.
And that's all down to Outland.
It is. And meeting movie stars.
Yeah.
I mean, I message with several of them via Instagram and Facebook and even email. I mean, I'm going to hopefully be able to meet up with Gary Lewis again, because we're going to present a check at our last Outlander gathering in North Carolina. One of our girls, Sophia Malinowski, put together a fundraiser, and she raised $1,061 for Gary's charity.
Very good.
And then I matched it with another $1,000.
All right,
So
excellent.
we're about to present $2,100 to the Glasgow Children's Hospital.
Oh, that's lovely.
And hopefully, if
Lovely.
Gary's schedule allows, he's going to meet us there too. He's planning on it, but he's sort of on call for that particular day. But we'll see. In any case, I mean, just getting to meet these people and you, Gordon.
That's pretty far down the list.
No, it's not. You're right at the top of the list.
I just wanted to say, folks, I was so grateful to Kim. I mean, she's obviously, as you've heard, she's a very busy lady, and she has this responsibility, which I know she takes very seriously, of looking after her group. So we had to try and find some time in our schedule where we could just sit down and have a wee chat. So I'm very, very grateful to you for that, Kim.
Wow.
And thank you so much. And it's so lovely to see you again.
Yes.
And I hope you have a fantastic time in Scotland. And I was going to say, hope the weather's good for you, but it probably won't be. But hey, you're used to that by now.
I'm all right with it. It's been spectacular. We've had a great heat wave. My last tour, we got sunburned in Shetland.
Yeah, I know, which would be amazing.
Right? We did, so.
Normally you get wind sweat.
Well, thanks for
No,
having me, Gordon.
not at all.
I'm honored that you chose
No,
me
not at all.
to be a part of this. So.
I think your story will resonate with people, and it's just part of this sort of encyclopedia of stories I want to put together of what the impact that these books have had and the TV series have had on people's lives. And so it's wonderful to hear it, and thanks so much for taking the time.
All right.
So guys, this video, it'll be on my YouTube channel, which is called Gordon Scotland, but I'll send it out on Facebook as well. And if you'd like to share it with other people, then that would be great. And if you want to like it and pass it on to people, that would be wonderful. But for now, from Kim and I, and here we are in the Signet Library in the well, it's called the Governor's Office, I think,
Right,
in
right.
the Outlander.
And in Lord John's chair.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I should have mentioned that. So Kim's sitting in Lord John's chair, especially for this interview. So anyway, it's farewell from Scotland and from Kim and I. Goodbye.
Bye.
Only a song of a life.